Don't think this is just another self-help podcast. It's not.
Well, what is it?
It's still a hot mess, where we ask the question, is self-help helping?
Every episode, we discuss, debate, and sometimes diss an aspect of the self-improvement movement.
We want to know, is it all too much? Has it gone too far? Is it making us even more neurotic? Is this self-help or self-help?
You make a mess of me.
Self-love, is it possible?
Yeah, like, how do you get there?
Like really. So we're gonna try and figure it out. Let's talk about first the self-help industry.
Yeah.
And how it looks and pushes the concept of self-love. So from your experience, Susan, what's your take on that?
Well, because I am a junkie and I have read a lot of the books, I find it actually kind of, big irony because of course, self-love is a big focus of self-help books and self-improvement. Ironically, here it is, self-love is important when consuming self-help books and trying to improve yourself. So it's like they push the messaging to love yourself, but it's very important to love yourself as you're consuming the books and trying to improve yourself.
When something's wrong with you, how can you love yourself?
That's right.
Conundrum.
We have spoken about this in other episodes, but I'm going there again.
It never gets tired.
No, I think it bears repeating. Mm-hmm. There is a downfall of the self-improvement movement, which is it can actually cause self-loathing. Mm-hmm. Like if you're not good with yourself, if you're not willing to accept your imperfections, the new standards that are being suggested to you by the self-help world or the goals presented by the self-improvement movement can trigger your inner critic.
Let's be honest, you might have loved yourself and you might not have even questioned it. And then all of a sudden it's like, but are you living your best life? Oh,
right. Like it really,
maybe not so much anymore.
Like it's like a bit of a Pandora's box when you think about it. I think sometimes the happiest people are the least self-aware people.
Don't give a fuck.
Right? Like,
yeah,
we the seekers.
Ignorance is bliss, baby.
Exactly. Yeah.
But do you want to live like that? That's the question.
Yeah, true. So I think, as you become more aware of your imperfections and you strive to improve, you can end up hating yourself and being completely dissatisfied with your life. Mm-hmm. There it is, right? There's the irony. Like, I think every book, every course, every workshop, every conference, every gym, every diet should come with a disclaimer that says, this process is going to point out your potential, and the discrepancy between who you are right now and who you want to be may send you down the rabbit hole to dwell in some serious self-hatred.
You have to look at your flaws to fix them.
Mm-hmm. That's right. You're right. And that's when it goes maybe perhaps from self-help to
pear-shaped
self-hell.
Yeah.
All right. So I don't know, if you don't bring along a lot of self-compassion and self-love to the new eating program or the yoga studio or the meditation app, then the moment you find yourself like eating the cupcake or falling over in crow pose or making a grocery list rather than focusing on your inhales and exhales, you're going to beat yourself up and put yourself down.
Right.
Yeah. So I've given a lot of talks at women's conferences throughout my career, and they'll often use this slogan for the day, for the event. It goes something like this: a better life, a better you. Mm-hmm. Oh my God. Like,
where do you start?
Right? Like, I can't stand it when I see the word better relating to personal growth. It suggests that right now you and the life you are living are inadequate.
And also that you deserve a better life. I mean, deserve what? What are we talking about?
Right? Like better, right? Better life, better you. Like you're doing life wrong, so let's fix you. Mm-hmm. Right? I don't know. Every time I'd see it, I wanted to call it out on stage, but then I knew I'd probably not get paid to do the talk. But
choices.
I know I wanted to go there anyway. So as I see it, without self-love, we end up hustling for our worthiness and improving ourselves as a way to become enough. Mm-hmm. All right. We think, if I get into better shape, I'll be enough. Or
if I lose 10 pounds,
sure.
I'll be a doctor.
Exactly. Like if I'm more grateful, I'll be enough. If I focus on the present moment more, I'll be enough. So it's like,
but maybe we're never enough. Maybe we're just what we are. And what is the enough? Like it used to be, perfection. And then, we started to correct this idea of perfection. It was like, you're perfect the way you are. What is perfection anyway? Perfection in itself would be boring, right? Like, so we've kind of worked perfection a little bit, the notion that you can be perfect. But this idea of being good enough is now, it's now the dialogue.
Yeah, I think
Are you good enough? People don't feel like, an individual doesn't feel like they're good enough for what?
I think it was Brene Brown who said once, and she may have even written it in one of her books. She said, "I've gone from being a perfectionist to a good enoughist."
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Okay, but so good enough. You're good enough, not that you're not good enough. what is it? Yeah, I guess it's not that you're not good enough. It's that you're is the term God, I can't remember it.
That's all right. I'm trying to subscribe to the idea that like we really are doing our very best
Yeah.
at all times.
Well, I mean, maybe some people aren't. And maybe, again, we've talked about, like, it's not that the books don't have value. The problem, for me is that you can only read so many books without actually doing some of the work. So as long as you're doing the work, as long as you're actively working on your selfness,
Yeah.
then great. But, yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, like when I say we're doing our very best, I think we're doing our very best based on what we have experienced and come to understand so far. Like we're always kind of expressing to each other our level of consciousness.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with wanting to be better.
Oh no, I
like to better yourself, better than you were yesterday, achieving something more. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, but there's nothing also wrong, I don't think, with just being like, I'm good. Like, I don't know. Maybe that is the problem. Maybe too many people are like, nah, it's fine.
I know. I do get so concerned about these words of better and improving. I don't know. It just.
Do you spend your time trying to be better and improving yourself?
Yes.
And why? Because you're told to, because the books say so, or because that's part of just who you are in life? Or do you know the difference?
I think part of it is our human nature, where we just always are striving to have more, do more than we have had previously.
That's
like
how
I think we're wired
some
exactly.
Greatness,
That's why our standard of living has steadily
absolutely
increased since our caveman and cavewoman beginnings. I think in a way it could be like, as we talked about with Karen.
Karen was our Enneagram specialist.
Yeah. And so I don't know, maybe I'm wired that way a little bit. That's just kind of very important to me as a core value to keep stretching, to go there, further and beyond.
But if humans strive, then it's not just a personality type. It's that there's something else at work then, right?
Yeah.
Like, I think that there is a desire in everyone to maybe be their best selves, even somebody who's never heard that before. But if it was suggested to them, that it would put them in action to do something about it, because fundamentally that would mean I'm a bit dissatisfied with the way things are. So therefore, self-help perpetuates that, as opposed to find purpose in just what is and the state of the way things are right now. Like, I don't know if it's like focus on the moment, but strive for better. It's constantly in conflict.
Eckhart Tolle would tell you, if you are mindfully focusing on striving, then you are in the present moment of striving.
You put mindfully in front of anything and you win. I'm mindfully drinking my water.
Like somebody
which
once,
means my water is
It's
better.
funny that you bring this up, though. I think it's a very good question, and one I think Eckhart Tolle has been asked many times. Like, how am I supposed to plan for the future if you're asking me to be in the present moment? He's
Right.
like, oh, no. You can be very mindful about, I am going to now plan for the future right now, rather than just mindlessly letting your brain drift off and start planning without you really consciously focusing on it. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know how you just drift off and go, oh yeah, maybe I'll do this weekend, when you're actually trying to write or something.
Yeah.
So he's like, if you say to yourself right now, I'm going to do some planning, you're in the present moment. You're being
It's a
mindful.
conscious act. It's mindful.
Yeah.
That's the difference maker.
I think what maybe you were asking me, at the beginning is, am I seeking worthiness from my accomplishments? Like,
What's the gaping hole inside of you, Susan? I guess is what I'm asking.
well, I do have an ego, which definitely is the driver. I
Look, we joke that, you often say, I hate myself, and it's funny. And I get why that's funny in our way of bantering and saying, I hate myself, because we know from being in the self-help world, it's about loving yourself. But clearly there's something there for both of us. And I would imagine most people where there's like, not all the time I don't or not all the time do I love myself kind of thing. But I just want to point out, because I know you were like trying to get to whatever the gaping hole was for you. But I said to my partner last night, I was like, we're doing our episode on self-love. And he was like, oh. And I was like seriously, do you struggle with self-love? And he looked at me like I had 17 heads. He was like,
because he's a guy and he's like, oh, I'm all good.
I can tell you right now, he loves himself, and he's not arrogant. He's good with him. And I was like, you don't ever doubt what you're doing? He goes, no, if something's not working, I'll find somebody who knows how to do it, or I'll move on to something else. He has strategies in place that I don't even know if he does super consciously. He just is so good at managing his world, and he loves himself. He looks great. He does things to make sure that he does. Good on him, but he's very confident and comfortable. And I'm like, okay, that's good for you.
So it's so funny.
And I was sitting there going, yeah, I'm good. I'm good too.
So back in the spring, when the big lull of the pandemic, I did a bunch of interviews with people because one day I might write a comedy show about self-improvement. And I asked every person I interviewed about what triggers your inner critic. And all the women I interviewed is like, oh, do you want that list alphabetized? Right? So just a litany of things. So I finally get a male to interview, and I ask him, so what triggers your inner critic? Dead silence.
Right. He's like, what is that?
He looked at me on Zoom. He just big empty pause. He was trying to think of something, Fanson. He couldn't come up with one thing. Yeah. And I just laughed my ass off, right? I'm just like, wow, well, here we are. I know, it's amazing, the male brain or the male psyche.
More power, man. I envy that. I really, really do, because it's such a waste of time with all the running critiquing that goes on. It really, it's a conscious effort for me. Well, I think you and I have talked about it.
Yeah.
For me, it's just always a low drone in the background. It's something that I just live with, right? And I'm like, oh yeah, that. It's not like it comes driving into me and I'm like, whoa, I'm just getting a big wave of self-hatred. It's more just like, oh yeah, that's always there.
Kind of just the little chirping in the background.
It's there.
The heckler in your head.
Yeah. I'm always no matter what happens, something doesn't go well. I have a disagreement with someone. I break a nail. I always go to, oh, what did I do? What did I do? What did I do wrong?
Yeah.
That's the first thing I do. And then I've got to kind of work my way out of that and go, okay, hold on a second. Let's deal with reality. What's actually happening? So that's just my low drone.
Yeah. I have to say, I'm going to relate with you on that one. Relate to you. Yeah. It's just kind of like that. Well, I call it mind chatter, right? Just that little, like they say, inner critic, just kind of poking at you. The little bully in your head. I don't know. But
I don't know if it gets in the way because I don't know anything different.
Yeah.
So, I do practice mindfulness and I do meditation, or I meditate, and I teach that to students. And I know I have that practice in place. So I guess I could say I should know the difference of the noise and then the absence of the noise. But I kind of don't. It's like, this is just the way I am.
Well, that's why I just love exercising or playing sports, or I don't know, dancing around, because at least then the noise quiets down.
Quiet.
Yeah. So I don't know. Like we said in our meditation episode, it's all great to focus on your inhales and exhales. If you can just do anything that effortlessly quiets the mind.
Yeah.
And I don't know if we can silence that heckler in our head, but at least, put him or her, backstage for a while.
I think
something.
The hope is that you can, and I think people are, in the practice of trying to rid it from their lives. From their lives? I'm having a day. From their lives,
It's so interesting that
I just don't know
we women really struggle with more, with self-love more than men. Now, I'm not saying there aren't men out there who hate themselves. Oh, clearly.
Oh, yeah.
But it really does seem to be a female-centric issue.
Right.
Now, we
Right.
talked a lot about this with Louisa Jewell on an episode that we recorded a few months ago now, and that's a good deep dive on, the female brain.
Yeah.
But it's so interesting that
Maybe
is
we
it?
should just do that. Maybe you and I should just go out and find out the stats on that. Like, start asking everybody and see. Let's answer that question. Is it mostly women? I mean, I feel like the answer would be yes, but I don't know for sure, because maybe men are more reluctant to talk about their insecurities and their vulnerabilities. Like, maybe, that's still the case.
Well, I mean, I think, you go to any personal growth conference, or you stand in the self-help section at the library or in the bookstore, and there's the women. Like we are the seekers. We are the ones who want to heal. We are the more willing to look at our shit. And again, what's the driver behind that? Because we want to feel like we're...
Is it innate or is it conditioning? I don't know. Is it just part of being an egg carrier? Neuroses? I don't know.
So I think, me being a 3, as we discovered,
This is our Enneagram.
the Enneagram
personality
thing. So I think
stuff.
accomplishments are important to me. But I think it'd be lying to you if I said that it was just, purely out of wanting to fulfill my life's purpose and be of service to the world. No, I think I will feel better about myself to have accomplished certain things too. Like, there is self-worth tied into it.
Sure, yeah.
I would be lying to you right now if
Don't do that.
Nope. Honesty. So here we are, full. We're bearing it all today because we're talking about self-love. So it is. I think.
Well, we're not sitting here naked because obviously it's either because it's not allowed or because we're a little shy. That's really bearing it all.
That's true. If we were really going to go there,
Yeah.
we would just be
Naked news. All day, our day.
Wow, that would be very exciting for Mike, our producer.
Yeah, I am Mike.
Yeah. Oh God, poor thing.
We're going in naked today.
A poor thing would be, altered for life. So I do think it's important to remember that the self-help, self-improvement industry, it's also, this is important to remember. That world, that industry relies on our insecurities when you think about it.
Yeah.
Like, it preys on our belief that we need fixing. Like, when you think about it, if we love and accept ourselves just the way we are and become satisfied with our lives, that multi-million-dollar industry is screwed.
Yeah. Now, but did that industry create the discontent, or were we discontented and therefore it perpetuates because we're seeking, we are, in our nature, it is to be seeking and lost.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just a very interesting layer. It's like, here, we want you to love yourself. We want you to fulfill your potential and be successful and healthy and get your shit together. But we're also then going to be out of a job if you do that.
Sure.
So in a way,
but the problem
right?
is also the problem is also comparison syndrome, because so many of these books, as you know, is my beef. It's like, I had a cocaine problem. I got over it. Now you can live a great life too. And I'm like, that's a memoir. Those are not self-help steps, and they're not coming from, let's say, a Brené Brown, who is research-based and, has the education background to support the work that she's doing, which is, I like those. I like Mindset, that book, the Dweck, what's her name? I like those sorts of readings as opposed to the memoirs that are branded self-help.
Yeah. I'm a bit more into those memoirs. I kind of like hearing about someone's journey and how they've discovered certain things and their take on certain, whatever you want to call it, concepts or beliefs. So, yeah. So while we're talking about
That's where we differ.
Yeah.
That's why we're here.
That's the only thing. So while we're talking about self-help books, I thought I would just share with you and the listeners the books that I've read on self-acceptance and self-love.
Yes.
And these are my recommendations. So The Gifts of Our Imperfection by Brené Brown. I think it's one of the most important books that's ever been written. You Are a Badass by Jen Sincero. Carry On Warrior and Untamed by Glennon Doyle.
There she is.
Memoirs. Self-Compassion by Kristen Neff. A New Earth by Eckhart Tolle. A Return to Love by Marianne Williamson. And Loving What Is by Byron Katie. And like
Great suggestions.
all those books are wonderful.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to point out two of them. Jen Sincero's You Are a Badass and Brene Brown's The Gifts of Imperfection. So You Are a Badass kind of makes the
Every
connection.
time you say that and you're pointing at
Yeah,
me and you say
you.
it, I'm like, yes, I am.
You, Fanson, are a badass.
That's all I need is someone to just look at me all day going, you are a badass.
Because, you know, somebody might be
I
sitting...
don't need the book. Just an assistant.
You know, somebody might be listening and going, well, okay, so like, why is self-love so important? I mean, that's, of course, something that we're going to talk about. And I'm just going to say that You Are a Badass makes the connection between the relationship you have with yourself and your ability to attract what you want in your life and manifest your desires.
And if you don't have the ability to do that, you're not a badass. You're a loser.
That could be certainly interpreted. So what she says is what you think and say about yourself is energy, and that energy attracts like energy. The universe responds to your vibrational frequency, so attracting positive things in your life starts with saying or thinking or saying positive things about yourself.
Well, you know, the Stoics said that way back when.
Sure.
So I love that it's rebranded. Whatever.
So I think really my favorite aspect of this book is that she addresses loving yourself at the end of every chapter, but she does it in a slightly different way each time. Like it's clever.
Okay.
She uses repetition because we need to hear or see something several times before it's integrated into, you know, our consciousness.
Consciousness.
Oh, wow,
Podcast voice. I just talked to my
yeah.
students about that this week in terms of repetition. I let them know, like first class every term, new students. And I always say, I'm going to repeat myself many times. And some of you are going to roll your eyes and think that I'm a little bit daft because I'm saying it again. But I said, you might have got it, but there's a number of you who are going to need a few times hearing the same fundamental, foundational things about the work that I know are important for you to get. So if you got it the first time, good on you. But other people need a little more time. So we're going to take those people into consideration also.
Yeah, I think rewiring our brains is not a quick process. And so that's why I think sometimes we do have to read these books over and over and over again, or different books on the same topic.
Yeah.
Because it takes a while to really, really integrate it into our consciousness.
It might be books. It might be movies. You might watch Pygmalion. You might watch Forrest Gump. You might watch Eat, Pray, Love. I know that was a book. You might watch I Feel Pretty with Amy Schumer.
Yeah.
These are all about learning to love yourself stories.
Yes.
And you can maybe get something from that. The Pursuit of Happiness. Great film.
Yep.
That's another one.
Yep.
All those switcheroony movies where, like, you know, somebody makes a wish, like Big, and, you know, they get switched into whatever, an adult or a child's body. And it's like appreciating the life you have. It's a wonderful life.
I was about to say, bing, bing, bing. It's
Bang,
a wonderful
bang,
life.
bang.
That's a very spiritual
that's a
movie.
self-help movie right there.
It is. You're right.
Yeah, yeah.
Good point.
You can watch Glow. This is about female wrestlers who are all learning to love themselves. They fundamentally, that's what that show, I think, implies. You know, it's saying like these women, these sort of misfits, become empowered.
I've never
by
seen
living
that
their
show.
life. It's such a great show.
Is it a great show?
Canceled now,
I know.
but
I heard.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. But I'll
But
watch
you know,
it.
you could get that self-love message from so many places.
Yeah, you're right.
And I just wonder, like, when you,
Do you remember Under a Tuscan Sun
yes,
with what's her name?
Diane Lane.
Oh, Diane Lane.
I lived a Diane Lane movie once, but let's not get into that.
I have such a crush on Diane Lane.
So do I.
Yeah.
And I'm not
Yeah,
a lesbian.
because you're breathing.
Yeah.
What a great film. I gotta
She's
say.
amazing. She's amazing.
And the like you say, the little self-help messages,
Yeah.
the messages of that movie. Oh, anyway, talk about embracing the present moment.
And those really are messages that are supposed to like resonate. You know, they're stories that you can feel deeply.
Like when she turns the tap finally and the water flows.
Right.
When she finally just embraces and accepts her
That's
life
not
and
a
herself.
metaphor, huh?
Right? The flow.
Yeah, of water. Wow.
Anyway, I'm just going to wrap up this whole self-help thing by mentioning the gifts of our imperfection,
Yep.
Brene Brown. So Brene Brown makes the connection between self-love and vulnerability. Of course, we all know that Brene Brown's the vulnerability queen, especially of the moment. So she points out that when we're right with ourselves, we then have the courage to be vulnerable, which Brene actually defines as bravely facing uncertainty, risk, and emotional exposure. Okay, that's how she defines vulnerability. So vulnerability is telling someone you're feeling hurt rather than pretending everything is fine. Vulnerability is trying yoga for the first time when everyone at the studio looks like a Lululemon poster child.
Is that what she says?
No,
Is that you?
this is me.
Oh,
Vulnerability is being accountable for your actions and saying, I'm sorry. And the key to having this courage to be fully seen is knowing that you're good enough just the way you are. So I think it's just so powerful, this connection. Self-love is the gateway to living an authentic life.
yeah. And here's a trip up.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
So, you can feel that. What was the word you said about self? What is it? That you just said?
Authentic life.
Yeah, like your authentic life or your authentic self or
Yeah.
whatever. That if you're grounded in that, then you're able to live in that sort of vulnerability.
Yeah, I think it's the opposite of being guarded, when someone just is so...
But here's the thing, it's not just
guarded.
about
Yeah.
you living your authentic self or being true to that. It's the other guy.
Yeah.
Right? So the reason why we guard ourselves often is because we don't want whatever we might get in return. We may have an expectation of what we'd like to get from exposing ourselves in our vulnerability, but that it's not met. And then
Yeah.
we have to recover from that, or to say to someone, I'm sorry, but that's sorry not to be accepted, or to say I'm sorry. And then someone says, yeah, well, if you hadn't have, and it's like, but I said, I'm sorry. Like that's the reality of life is the communication and the conflict and the resolving of those things that we need to have the patience and the fortitude and the perseverance for. We have to be willing to be in the ring with that.
Being in the arena, she calls it.
There you go.
Yeah.
So
but
ring,
you're right,
arena, court, all those places
Yeah,
where you show up.
You're quite right, though. You kind of got to get in the arena and risk it all to then get to that connection that
Sure.
you're ultimately seeking, right?
I mean, trust yourself.
Yeah.
Trust yourself. Like
Yep.
the ability to just believe in you, trust yourself that you'll make the right decision, that you can stand your ground, that you will be compassionate and kind in the face of whatever is coming at you. Like those are things that you need to be in the practice of every day. You're not going to read books, get to the point where you go, I got it. And then that's it. You're
Yeah.
fine. No, it doesn't work that way. It's constant life work. That's what's real.
Yep. And so with Brene Brown, I think she's suggesting that if you're okay with yourself, then you will bravely face maybe the letdown of the apology not being accepted or it not going the way that you want because you're okay with yourself. So you'll bravely then go into that arena and risk it not turning out the way you want. So I just think it's a beautiful connection between how we feel about ourselves and how we interact with others. So I
Yep.
cannot recommend her book.
Have you read
enough.
it?
Yes.
And can you live by that?
Oh my goodness. I read it years ago.
So too long ago. You've read all the books. How are you with self-love, knowing that you have read so many of those, the ones you recommended? I would imagine you've read those. How is that helping you now?
I would say that therapy has definitely probably been the biggest leap for me.
Okay, so we take all the books and then we go to therapy.
I think I had the awareness, I had the concepts, in my consciousness. I'll just say that word again.
Yeah, the books brought that to you, very much so.
But I think I was really pushed. Like you said, you make that fitness analogy with self-help being like going to the gym and then therapy being like getting a personal trainer.
That's right.
And so I think my therapist has just really, really pushed me to put it into action more.
Good.
And to
Yeah.
address it fully, right? Like, let's go there. We do this type of therapy where you actually talk to yourself in a chair.
Okay.
Like I sit here and then I look at
An empty chair.
Yeah,
It's
and I
kind
talk-
of what our friend Kelly Elson does, but she does it with dead people for real.
That's right.
You should check out that episode.
I like how we're referring to our episodes today,
We've
Fancy.
never been so rapid fire with these past
Our
episodes.
memory's really sharp today.
Ginkgo, 6 a day.
We're not showing off, but we're just kind of remember some things we've done over the last year. But yeah, so anyway, there's just some it's a real deep dive into how you feel about yourself. Oh, anyway, that's therapy.
Yeah, no, but look, I didn't invent this. I don't know who said it originally.
Yeah.
But love is knowing. Okay. If you know something, if you know your child, let's say,
Yeah.
you love your child, you have a partner, you know them, it opens the gateway to love, right? Like hate comes from misunderstanding or not knowing, the fear of the unknown.
Yeah, it's
right.
fear. Yeah.
Knowing is love. To know yourself. And therefore, I mean, can you know yourself? And then is the next step you have to accept yourself, and then therefore you can love yourself? I don't know. I mean, I'm still questioning self-love, like this idea, this notion of I love me. Okay, great. What does it mean to be in that state of love with yourself? Does that mean you are completely accepting of yourself? Is it as simple as that? I accept me for who I am, for what I do.
I remember Liz Gilbert being interviewed by our good old friend Rachel Hollis, and the concept of self-love came up in their conversation. And Liz, I love it. She just said, I don't know, self-love seems to be a real friggin' lofty goal.
Yeah.
And so she
Who said
said,
that? Which one?
Liz Gilbert.
Okay,
and
yeah.
Liz like, well, as I see it, or here's my goals, just to be friendly to myself. Like it's a friendliness rather than, I don't know.
Well, look,
just swooning every day going,
right.
I'm just so
but
great.
Is love swooning?
Yeah.
I mean, to be friendly to yourself. Like the idea is that one thing we've talked about is the self-absorbed result of being engaged in self-help.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Just the fact that you're so in such a deep dive exploration of self, it puts you into like that state of self-absorption that
Yep.
you are the most important thing of all. And it's like, okay, I get that maybe, there is a need for that, to put yourself first. And that, a lot of people get sick because they don't put themselves first, because they care for others, and they've never learned that they need to have a little self-care in order to, like put the mask on before you put it on the kid.
Yeah.
So you've got oxygen to help, whatever the situation,
Right.
Whatever.
Yep.
I haven't
Yep.
taken a flight in a while, so I forget what the
How
hell
does
that's
that
all
go
about.
again?
Yeah. But
Yeah.
if it's just like that idea of being even more self-absorbed, if you're focused on trying to love yourself, like, is it just like, hey, just be friendly? Is it just about the self-talk? Is it, look, figure out what it is that you're saying upstairs
Yeah.
and do some conscious work, some mindful work to turn that into a positive. And then the results will just inevitably be a kind of love.
Yeah. Well, I like how you brought up self-talk. I think while the concept of self-love is, that it just seems like such a, big ideal, can we at least be more deliberate with the voice that we're listening to and believing? So maybe we can talk about it being an absence of things. So this idea of friendliness, I like. It's like, I'm going to be friendly to myself. I'm going to be kind, gentle, compassionate, right? So it's the absence of judgment. Is it the absence of criticism?
What if I read from Corinthians, I believe, 13?
Well, okay,
So
Finn.
this is often what they maybe it's just in like Catholic wedding ceremonies, but here's something that some of you may find familiar. It may sound familiar. Love is patient. Oh my God, sorry, I'm laughing already.
It's like you're on the pulpit.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Love is patient. Love is kind. First of all, are you those things to yourself? Are you those things to your partner? Mm-hmm. Are you those things in your life? Let's start with that. Okay. I don't think you have to be religious to find this psalm or whatever this thing is for it to have value. So love is patient. Love is kind. It does not envy. It does not boast. It is not proud. It does not dishonor others. It is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. Love never fails. But where there are prophecies, they will cease. Where there are tongues, they will be stilled. Where there is knowledge, it will pass away. And it goes on. But
Amen, Vincent.
amen. But there is love. So are you that to yourself? And I question just the notion of love when this message is delivered, love yourself. I really wonder if people today who knows what love is and who practices real, true love. I mean, that's broad, but
Yeah, I think it was Mark Manson too that made the point that like love is actually action.
at least it wasn't Charles Manson.
No.
So that would be different.
Yeah.
He had the whole commune going on. There was
That's
lots
true.
of love there, people.
Something. So we're almost thinking of rather or actions, like choices.
Love is action.
Yeah.
Love
Rather-
is in
rather
love
than a
is
state.
love can be demonstrated.
Yeah. So you think, can you perhaps offer, I don't know, loving kindness towards yourself? Mm-hmm. Right. So you think about how you want to be with a partner, and you simply make that choice over and over and over again. Like you said during our Zoom meeting the other day, it's like, yeah, you just kind of have to choose over and over and over again when you're with a partner.
Love
it's like,
is choice, man. First of all, love is chemical.
Yes.
And then love is choice. Like one thing, when you think about being in a 30-year relationship or even a 10-year relationship, I don't
Please.
care. A year, even a month, a week. No, but you can't
You know,
be
when it
in
gets hard.
a long-term relationship where at some point you don't hate or want to murder one another. Like there are those days, come on, I'm sure, where you're like, I just friggin' can't stand the sight of you.
Well, it's
and
true.
then you just have to like wake up and choose again and be like, yes, I choose you because that's my commitment. And that's the work. That's making love work. And that is the work of love.
you're quite right. Like when you first get together with someone, they can do no wrong, right?
That's the chemical part. That's
you're
the crazy chemical part.
They say you're actually high.
You're love struck.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's dopamine
Or even if they are doing or saying something annoying, it's, I don't know.
because they're gonna.
Yeah. I don't know. It doesn't matter.
Right.
Right. It's interpreted in this other way. You say, oh, that's so cute or something. I don't know. Like, oh, look at you over there chomping away on that gum. I don't know, or
Yeah.
whatever. And then over time, you have to choose not to like just whack them over with a pan.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So as I see it,
Wow, that was all very interesting. Chewing gum and frying pans. Oh my God. Look out, guys.
Being with me is a real treat. I wonder why my relationships don't work out. It's so weird. Anyway, so, you say making the choice, and I agree
Yes.
with you. It's like, for me, I think you're making the choice over and over and over again to ignore your inner critic, right? Like that inner voice that, judges you, shames you, bullies you. Now your inner critic goes by, of course, another name, and that's the ego, which is part of the psyche that operates out of fear and thrives on negativity because it's trying to protect you. Anyway, that's a whole other story.
Which is not all a bad thing.
Yeah, that's right. I know.
really get tired of people going, ooh, that's your ego, or that's an ego moment. It's like, yeah, but we've really given ego a bad rap.
Yeah, so the ego is basically saying shitty things to you to keep you on your toes.
Right.
Because back in the, the beginning, that was how you survived those
And you bring
life-threatening
up-
situations.
And you do bring up a great point, because if we can't do anything about the ego, like I'm not saying we can't do anything about it, but
You can't
we've
get
got
rid of it.
We've got it, right? So that means, everyone, it's in our nature. That's going to be present. So you're going to be critical and negative and hate yourself and hate other people. Come on.
Yeah.
Of course you do. Have you been in a car lately? You hate everybody. That's right. Like it's going to happen. It's just what you do with it, how you manage it. That's it.
Exactly.
And
Management.
And knowing that, just knowing that.
Yes.
Should be some form of comfort to know that, look, that's just the way that is. Now you choose how you want to roll with it on top of that.
Okay, so just to recap here, to be human is to be imperfect.
Yes.
And to hate yourself sometimes is natural.
Is it to lose your keys too?
Yeah.
Oh man, I lose my keys a lot.
I know. You do. You lose your glasses a lot too.
I lose a lot of things.
Anyway, usually leave at least 2 or 3 things at my place.
That's just so
every
I can
time.
go back.
There you go. And also, being a hot mess is to be human and natural and inevitable. And so, yeah, you're going to be a hot mess and then you're going to hate yourself because of it. All of it is fine.
Yep.
Okay?
Yep.
Exactly.
Exactly.
So it's important to just, keep in mind that because of how we're wired, silencing that voice is a very tall order. Go ahead and try. I don't know how you can because that's your ego. But you can, I think, practice. You can practice getting better at not listening intently to it and believing the crap it's saying to you.
Don't believe the crap you say to yourself. Unless, of course, it's true.
Yeah. Like your inner critic, it's not going away because it's your ego. But what's possible is to develop what I call like an inner nurturer or an inner cheerleader, right? Like you can develop another voice of compassion, I don't know, kindness and love who supports you, right? When your inner critic says like, I can't believe you skipped your workout today. You're so lazy and fat. When are you ever going to get, your shit together, right? You can turn to that other voice who says, girl, it's all good. Some days you just don't have it in you and that's okay. There's always tomorrow.
Right. But then get up tomorrow and do something about it. Don't be that person.
Don't be so lazy and fat. Like we're going to let you off for a day or two, but then girl,
man, this whole thing is such a roller coaster.
Girl, wash your face.
Oh my God.
Okay. So that may sound weird. Does that sound weird to you?
None of that sounds weird to me. Everything sounds weird and nothing is weird.
Or just maybe there's the option of challenging that inner critic and saying, hey, listen, I'm doing my best over here. I'm not lazy and fat. I'm busy and tired.
I'm busy and tired. I'm
Yes.
busy and tired.
Yeah.
I'm busy and tired.
Okay.
I don't
all
want
right.
to tell myself I'm tired. And I don't want to just be busy.
I'm tired.
That's going to be manifesting something that I really don't want. I don't want that coming into my bubble. Busy, tired.
There you go.
Yeah.
Jen Sincero would be very proud of you right now.
Energized and imaginative. It's
so proud of you right now.
Really?
I am. You just called out something very important for our listeners. You did.
What you say is what you'll be.
There it is.
That's deep.
So, but like just kind of maybe talk back to it sometimes, right? Like, I'm a hot mess. And that is what it is to be human. So back off. Judge Judy.
You know what? Okay.
There we go.
But
Judge
if you want to fall, so to be in love with yourself, is it being in love or is it just being loving to yourself?
Like, I don't know. Just go easy on yourself.
Because if you want to be in love with yourself, you've got to go through a whole process, right? Like you've got to like release some high levels of dopamine, that's the reward system that gets the reward system going. Ugh. That's why we all love, Instagram and all the likes and everything, because that's the same stuff. It's like cocaine. Dopamine activates the reward circuit, helping to make love a pleasurable experience, similar to the euphoria of like cocaine or alcohol.
Okay, I'll say this.
Can you feel that way about yourself? I'm so high in love with myself.
Okay, wow, that's an interesting concept. But I will say that before the pandemic hit, and I used to go on little trips because of speaking engagements, I used to spend a day or two by myself in a little town or whatever, and it would be kind of like cool me time. I don't know. Yeah. I kind of had fun by myself.
For sure.
I don't know. I just I don't know. We were dating.
Yeah. Oh no! But
you know what I mean?
Yes, because I always felt like my own best friend. Like I was like, hey, Cal, hey. Like there was just that sort of feeling in there where it was like I'm me, but I'm also like I like her.
Yeah. I miss my little business trips where, just out of necessity, I was alone. You don't really take an entourage.
I think it's important to be alone sometimes.
Not at this point anyway, but it was like,
Until it goes too far.
well, the voices in my head, I guess you could call me an entourage, but I don't know. I did. I felt like, yeah, she and I don't know.
You were good. You were tight.
Yeah. I don't know.
Nice.
I was enjoying my own company. I don't know. I didn't hate myself.
Phew. That's a nice feeling
gave
every once in a while.
myself the day off. We had work to do. I don't know. Sometimes you just have to get in your own damn corner.
Yeah, for sure. But is self-love possible?
We just sit here in silence now and think about it.
We'll let you guys let us know. You call in. Hello, caller.
I don't know if it is possible in a consistent way.
Right, because if love is knowing, then you have to know yourself, and that's a constant journey. And you may fall out of knowing, and then you have to rediscover, and then start that love process again. Or is it just, look, be kind to you?
Yeah.
That's a demonstration of love, of care.
I just think it's something to practice. But again, let's not set ourselves up for that lofty goal of I'm going to be kind and compassionate and loving and friendly to myself every day, no matter what. It's like, no,
Could you do that for your partner?
No, I don't think that's possible either.
So if we can't, what they say, let's just focus on the self-help industry, although it's wider spread than that.
Yeah.
But if they say you can't love others if you can't love yourself, where do we stand with that?
That's a very interesting thing. If you don't love yourself, how can you love another human being?
If you're talking shit to yourself, are you talking shit about your partner? Are you talking shit about your friends? Is it like you do it here, it happens everywhere? Like I remember the Brené Brown vulnerability talk.
Yep.
I remember that clear as day because at the time I was shut down in what I thought was an area of my life of vulnerability. And once I saw that, I was like, oh, I should take a look at where that vulnerability is not showing up, not just in that one place that I'm feeling very protective. And I was like, oh yeah, I've shut it down. I've shut it down in a lot of places, maybe everywhere. So is it the same sort of idea? Like if you talk shit to yourself, you're talking shit everywhere.
I think, you know how they say, don't take things personally? Like if people do or say something to you,
one of
it's
the
like
one of the four agreements.
One of the four agreements. It's like that's actually them saying a hell of a lot more about them than you. Okay. That
projecting.
kind of idea.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think there is a connection. Like, yeah, if you can't stand yourself, you're probably not going to be a very good partner to someone else. I think there's a connection there.
And maybe there's times where you're not being kind to yourself. And that may mean in those times, maybe you're not as kind to your partner or to others because of the suffering that you're going through. Like maybe there is a correlation with that.
I think so. But here's the thing too. If we all wait to love ourselves before we hook up with someone, nobody's getting anything.
Nobody's getting anything. And,
Nobody's.
And that's probably part of the work, right? Like I think we're also saying, look, if you're waiting to love yourself, you might be waiting a long time if you're waiting for some consistency.
You're going to die alone. You're going to die alone.
But we're also saying it's hard to be consistent in a state of love anyway, and that love is actually choosing. So the practice is in choosing yourself, choosing to be kind, and therefore that kindness spills out onto everything else in your life. So it all works together as a whole. It's a system.
I'm a big believer that your partner, or even those who are close to you in your life,
are jerks. All of them, every single one.
They tend to hold up a mirror, right?
Yes.
Like they're right, and so
because we're all one, man.
There it is again.
Yeah,
fancy.
I know.
Namaste.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is. They reflect back to you your stuff, and so I think also partnerships are an amazing opportunity to explore your relationship with yourself. Like I think in a way, people come along to help you.
Oh yeah.
And grow with, whether it's to do with your own self-talk or self-love, or something else. But I think in a way we need these hot messes. We need these relationships sometimes to, I don't know, push us further along our path, our
Yeah,
evolutionary path.
I do think that one of the things that is also suggested is, like if you've maybe had a string of relationships, they say,
Yeah.
maybe some alone time would be good for you. Get to know yourself again. Like, I think that there's value in that. But at some point, you need to engage with someone again. You need to have that time, that relationship that's going to reflect you back onto you, so you know what the hell you're dealing with yourself. Like does. Yeah.
I think there are some people.
I think I'm just saying what you just said. Will.
No, but I think there are some people who stay single so they don't have to look at their shit.
Yes, for sure.
But also, I think people are encouraged to take some me time so they don't end up doing the rebound and numbing their pain through another relationship and not. Right, like we've discussed on this episode, or not this episode, this show before. Like, pain is important, and if you don't address it, if you don't sit in it,
it's gonna
it's
just kill you.
Right, like you gotta go there to heal from it.
Well, look, time for yourself is time to know yourself. Time to know yourself again is going to lead to some acceptance and some love. And then go forth and go put your shit on somebody.
Well, I talk about
go ruin somebody's life,
right? Drive them crazy, make them hate themselves.
That's right.
For choosing you.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, talk about getting in the arena, right? I mean, entering a partnership, a relationship, that's one of the biggest arenas out there, right? That's where we really do risk.
Oh yeah.
A lot. That's our vulnerability.
I remember when I had a relationship that was not right for me. Mm-hmm. I left the country.
You know what? Sometimes you do just have to get in your own corner and on a plane.
And on a plane. So, I went on a walkabout. And this isn't at 20,
I know.
And I was gone for quite some time. And I realized along my travels that I had suddenly, what I realized was I was afraid of commitment. I hadn't been afraid of commitment in my life. Mm-hmm. And I finally had the realization that, oh my gosh, I'm afraid of commitment now. And why? And the thing was that there was like a lack of trust in that notion of being with someone and being like safe in that arena. So I had to work through that so I could put myself back into that workplace, because it is a workplace. You have to be ready to engage in that.
Yeah, I think your European travels is a great example of, I don't know, what is it? It was a reset. It was a.
People were like, "Oh, are you going to find yourself?" And I was like, "Nope,
no, but
I'm going to go see the world." And then I ended up losing myself.
Yeah.
I totally did not need to find myself, but I kind of lost myself out there. But I lost parts of the stuff that I really didn't need anymore. It was so fantastic. It was like a little eat, pray, love. And then, came back and was able to sort of go, okay, where do I work from this foundation that I have now?
Well, that's the whole letting go process. Mm-hmm. You shed a lot of shoulds.
I didn't should it. I shed it.
No, I do think it's more of the unlearning that we need to do in this life.
Tough stuff
to get us back to, some semblance of our joyful, loving, true nature, right? Like we were the babies.
The babies.
Let's
all just be babies.
right. Without any of that narrative.
Yeah.
And just loved ourselves and loved the world and loved, whoever, came into the room. So it's, well, I mean,
hey, it ain't going to be easy, but nobody said it was going to be easy. Nobody said it was going to be fair.
Nope. This is the arena, baby.
Come on, guys, pull up those bootstraps.
But let's just remind our listeners that the goal is not to love yourself all the time. I mean, let's not set ourselves up for that.
It's to mindfully choose.
Yeah. So
mindfully. Just do it mindfully.
So if you find yourself thinking that you're a piece of shit,
be a mindful piece of shit.
There it is. That is not a cue to double down and hate yourself even more for thinking that you're a piece of shit.
Right.
That's a meta feeling.
Yeah.
And we have a whole episode about that if you want to do a deeper dive on that topic. This has just been a commercial today.
Kind of feels a little promo-y.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, I do hope this discussion has helped.
I don't know if did we explore it and come to a conclusion, or have we just
I think,
had our own little tangents and come up with some valuable
okay, so I like how
Talking points.
we've talked about it being a choice. Like you do,
love is a choice.
Yeah, like you choose every day to, be a pretty decent person to your partner.
Yeah.
Right? So let's be a pretty decent person to ourselves.
Yeah.
Right? And so we just choose. We talked about how
All things in moderation. Huh? Like self-help gurus, they're like, you're a badass. You love yourself so much. We're like, if you could just sort of kind of
I just really
accept yourself, that'd be
Yeah.
good.
Like I really like Liz Gilbert, like she just kind of looks at it as a friendliness.
Yeah, man, because it's reality.
Just try not to beat yourself up or put yourself down.
There is no try, only do.
That's right,
So
Fanson.
it's a little Yoda for you. Hey, you know what that reminds me of?
What does it remind you of?
I think there's a game we might want to play here.
Well, Fanson, it's now time to play the game that makes me hate myself every time. That's right, it's time to play
Name That Guru.
Yes, this is when we read 3 self-help quotes to each other, and the other person tries to identify who the hell said it.
Yeah.
Here we are.
Okay, junkie.
We haven't played this in a few episodes.
No, we haven't. And I'm
Wow.
sure our listeners have been missing it. So
Yeah, I'm
We're-
sure they have.
bringing it back. All those people who were writing in going, where did it go?
Yeah, no, it was a lot of emails and
Yeah.
a lot of tweets and a lot of grams.
Yeah.
Grams, that sounded odd.
Why
I was
do they
referring to
call it-
Instagram.
Can I ask why they call it gram?
Like
Instagram?
do it for the gram.
Yeah, but why? Why gram?
Instagram.
But what is a gram?
Okay, I
So,
don't know.
There's another app out there. It's a photo
Insta-
app. It's so amazing, and it's called Gram Jam. And I was like, why Gram though? Check out Gram Jam. Anyway.
Maybe a possible sponsor.
Ooh,
Oh,
perhaps
this episode has been brought to you by Gram
Gram
Jam.
Jam.
See, that sounded nice.
it did.
Okay, you
I'll
going
look into
first?
that.
Yeah, shoot them a gram. Okay, so you gonna go or what? I love how we just look
Yeah,
at each other. Like,
yeah.
okay,
Is it you? Is it me?
okay, I'll go.
You go.
Here we go. Rather than by the way,
oh.
I have a theme.
Oh, really?
No, listen, I'm quoting authors that I spoke about in the episode when I was rhyming off all the self-love books I liked.
Oh.
Okay. So anyway,
this
I'm
is-
just saying.
This is always the was Kelly listening?
No, I'm just like, I don't know. That's just what I did.
Yeah.
No pressure.
I like it. It's yeah, you're keeping it it's structure. I love it.
You just got to be kind to yourself, Fanson, no matter what.
Okay.
Rather than wandering around in problem-solving mode all day, thinking mainly of what you want to fix about yourself or your life, you can pause for a few moments throughout the day to marvel at what's not broken. I liked it. Yeah.
Oh, that's nice. Marvel at what's not broken.
Yeah.
That's very positive.
we do. We tend to just focus on what's not working.
Yeah, I like how that works with the what's that called? The reverse psychology of your brain.
I actually had a note in my notes
Oh.
about that. How you if you
It's
ever
meta notes.
the meta notes, but if you ever you start saying shitty things about your life or yourself.
Yeah.
Why not just jot down the opposite? And you'll probably find out that that's true.
Yeah.
Right? Like when you say I'm lazy, then you write down about all the things you've done lately. It's like, oh yeah, right, I'm not lazy.
Right. Just gonna go down that list of I suck.
Like just kind of try the opposite.
Yeah.
I think that's a cool. See, there's another thing you can do.
Yeah.
Little choice.
Yeah. Reverse psychology on yourself.
Yep. Flip it around. See if
We did not talk about self-love. There's something we completely stepped over, but
we did.
it's so immature. Yeah, okay.
Oh well,
I would be remiss if I didn't.
No. When you were
mention-
talking about caressing yourself,
I came
thought,
close.
well,
I came
here's
close,
here's
right?
the moment where
But I was like, no, I'm not going to go there
I
because it's just too obvious.
figured
It's so cheap,
you were going there. I appreciate that you didn't.
Yes, thank you. Okay,
Okay, so any idea who said that?
no, almost broken. That you're the unbroken pieces.
So your life isn't entirely broken. Okay, so that was said by Kristen Neff.
Oh,
Okay, so she wrote Self-Compassion, the Proven Power of Being Kind to Yourself.
oh,
She's really the it girl in terms of compassion,
Okay.
self-compassion right now.
All right.
Yeah.
Right now.
She's, one of the it girls.
Got it.
Okay,
The it
Fanson.
gurus.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. Ready?
Yeah.
I love you begins by I, but it ends up by you.
Okay. Is this a self-help guru or is it like
No.
a singer,
No.
actor,
No.
cartoon character, action figure, superhero?
No.
So what's like a little clue
It's a good
that's
quote,
going to help?
though, huh?
I like it.
Feels like it's really like in line with what we were talking about today.
The Bible.
No.
Corinthians.
I don't even know who this person is.
Unknown. Anonymous.
Kind of.
Or you just don't, you're not familiar with who said it.
I really just don't know who this person.
Okay. Okay.
Have you ever heard of Charles Deleuze?
No.
Oh, well, that's who said it.
All right.
Okay.
Chuck?
But think about it. I love you begins with I, but ends by you.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Okay. The only thing that was, okay, sorry, typo. The only thing that was ever wrong with me was my belief that there was something wrong with me.
That's like when I say I liked myself better when I knew less.
I love that quote.
That's a good one.
If I do say so myself.
It does
There's a
work.
It's a little self-love over
A
there.
little self-love.
Okay, so your clue is that we're probably going to be doing an episode soon about her book.
Badass. Jen Cicero.
No.
Nope.
It's one that we've talked about a lot about.
Sure. Yeah.
It's she's a memoir. She writes memoirs. She's not a memoir. She writes memoirs.
Okay,
But-
hold on.
But I think you're going to like her more
Glennon
than Rachel.
Doyle.
There it is. I think you're going to like her more than Rachel Hollis.
Okay.
But that probably won't be hard to
That
beat.
won't be hard. Okay.
Okay.
I decided long ago never to walk in anyone's shadow. If I fail, if I succeed, at least I'll live as I believe.
Okay.
No matter what they take from me, they can't take away my dignity.
Okay. So I know it is The Greatest Love of All, sung by Whitney Houston, but did she write it?
Oh, geez.
Or was that
I
another Dolly
supposed to know
Parton?
that?
Could have been another Dolly Parton.
Could have been.
Actually, you know what? I think she may have.
You know what? You're
written.
right. You're right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh God, I miss Whitney Houston so much.
Do you?
Yep.
Well, how far did loving yourself the greatest of all do for her? Like, I couldn't even say that sentence.
I
Well, look what that did
know.
for her.
I mean, we can only assume that there was a lot of self-loathing.
A lot. Like so much.
She didn't love herself enough to run away from Bobby Brown.
And who knows, like
Who
life
knows?
circumstances, sometimes it's just too much.
we lost touch.
Yeah.
Later on.
It was written by Michael Masser.
Oh, okay. I thought it was Dolly.
No.
All right.
And Linda Creed. Sorry, Michael Masser composed the music. Linda Creed wrote the lyrics. It was originally
Oh.
recorded in 1977.
Oh, so Whitney wasn't the first. Oh.
She was not the first.
Okay, here's my
By
last
George
one.
Benson.
Oh, okay. Yeah, George Benson. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
It peaked at number 2 on the U.S. Hot Soul Singles chart that year. There you go.
Well, there we are.
I didn't know.
The history of
The greatest,
the greatest
love of all.
Well, there we go. If only we could play that music on this episode.
But we cannot. I was going to sing it. I was going to
That'd be
break
nice.
into song, but then I was like,
Uh-oh.
not allowed.
All right, here's my last one. Mm-hmm. Happiness is not dependent on circumstances being exactly as we want them to be or on ourselves being exactly as we'd like to be. Rather, happiness stems from loving ourselves and our lives exactly as they are, knowing that joy and pain, strength and weakness, glory and failure are all essential to the full human experience.
Brené Brown.
You know what? I've never done this before, but I've quoted the same person twice in this game. So you have a 50% chance. Is it Kristen Neff or Glennon Doyle?
Oh,
Yeah. Well, I've got 50% chance.
okay. How about
Oh.
Kristen Neff?
Well done, Fanson.
Can't believe how I felt the stakes were so high there.
You can love yourself now.
I can.
You're worthy.
I'm so worthy.
Oh, you're so worthy.
I'm so worthy. I'm so worthy. I'm so worthy. Okay. I think the perfection of love is that it's not perfect.
Okay. So, author or what did they do?
Sing
They sang
lots of things.
like a current singer.
She sang at the was
Okay,
it the
yep,
Grammys
here we
this
go.
year? Did you watch it? She was amazing.
It
She's
sounds
pretty outspoken.
okay. Oh God, is she older?
No.
Sounds wise. Oh God, I'm gonna
No,
say
but she's wise. And
okay.
she's not older.
You know what? I'm gonna say Taylor Swift.
You're right.
Wow.
Woohoo!
Wow.
Yeah.
Total guess.
Oh yeah. Oh, sometimes you've done that.
Right out of the
Isn't it
friggin'
weird?
blue.
I know. I don't know how that happens.
Huh.
Sometimes we just, I know you've done that a couple times. I've been like,
interesting.
whoa, how did you just get that? Did you know that 'tis better to have loved and lost than never to have loved at all?
That's what they say.
That's what they say. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think it's again putting yourself in the arena. Yeah, I think it's important to put yourself out there. Go
Yeah.
for it, even
Yeah.
if you're gonna get trampled on. And
Yeah.
Yep.
Just do it.
because if we hide away and protect ourselves from risk, I don't think that's. I really don't think that's living.
No.
No.
Do you think there's some fear in loving yourself?
Oh wow, jeez.
Like, can you reject yourself?
God,
Can you
you
break up with yourself? It's hard to do.
Breaking up with yourself is hard to do. I think I've wanted to before. Have you ever just been so tired of your bullshit?
Oh God, what?
Like, has there,
The sound of my own voice, like just shut up, Fanson.
the person you're the most tired of being around is you?
Yeah.
Been there.
Yeah. Day in, day out, same nattering.
The heckler in our heads. I guess all I can say is now kind of, I've been reflecting on this topic with you today, and I think I have dwelled in a lot of self-loathing, and I can say that it's better. It's better.
Yeah.
It's getting better. I'm making that conscious choice more to
Yes.
kind of get in my own corner and go, okay, girl, you know what? You are doing your best.
That's
I know-
because it's your birthday today.
It is
and
my
you're
birthday.
older now.
I am
You're more
I'm
mature.
older.
You're more mature. And you know what? Because I forgot.
Yeah?
Like, I didn't know it was today. I knew it
That's
was
all
coming.
right. Oh,
So I got you.
when you get older, it's not a thing.
I got you
You got-
something. I
Thank
had
you.
to do it like last minute. I
Thank
had
you
to run out.
so much,
I didn't want you to
Fanson.
go home empty-handed. What's in the bag?
Wow. Look, I think there could be some items from the dollar store. Well, you went all out, didn't you, kid?
did. I really did.
Oh, wow. I've got orange is my favorite
Orange
color.
is your color.
Well, a little.
It's a tiny little person's mop.
Well, listen, I don't want to make everyone jealous and go through the whole bag.
No.
But I can see there's a lot of
A lot of cleaning materials.
in these COVID times.
Yeah, I
Look
thought you'd
at you
appreciate that.
having a theme.
I can do it too.
Well, Fanson, this has been an enjoyable way to spend my birthday.
I've really loved it.
Yeah, I think we went there,
And now we're done.
and we've been in the arena. We're tired. I know I'm tired. But
Are you
that's
guys
because
tired?
I'm a bit
Thanks
older.
for listening.
Yeah, thank you so much for listening,
And please keep writing in. Tell us what you think and tell us how love's going for you.
Yeah. Until next time,
You're Susan Stewart.
and you're Kelly Fanson,
And we're
still a hot mess.
We'd like to thank our sponsor, Purple Jade Wellness Center, for your support. Thanks also to Monkey Junk, the Juno Award-winning blues band consisting of some of the best people and musicians we know. We'd also like to thank and give a 3-minute hug, because self-help says that's more meaningful, to the Pod Plant and Mike Wixon.
And hey, why not subscribe or follow our show? And please, for the love of Oprah, give us a rating and review on your iPhone podcast app. And if you're into social media, you can find us on Instagram at Still a Hot Mess Podcast, and like us on Facebook at Still a Hot Mess. And thank you, Fanson.
And thank you, Susan.
You make a mess of me. You make